Good morning, everybody. We will be starting in just 1 second. Bear with me. Good morning, everybody. Another lovely, glorious, sunny morning up here in Leeds. And thank you for joining me. Just letting Rory in.
Just
get
my
1
video
second. Always last minute technical issues, always.
We got Jeremy to the rescue to hopefully solve the problems. And
There
there we are.
he is. There's his
Super Jeremy.
Beautiful unshaven face. It gets prettier every time we do these.
Oh, stop it.
Okay, morning, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. So welcome back to this episode of the Force24 webinar, where the title question is, where did all the leads go? And it's a look at the market, how it's adapted over the past 18 months post-COVID, and more notably, post-COVID recovery, and again, including some of the factors that are influencing our behaviors and spending at the moment, such as what's going on in the Ukraine, the fuel crisis, blah, 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 blah. And it's just a look really into some of the things that have changed that we've noticed, and sort of debating with you guys to try and get a little bit of, see if there's some commonality in our thinking and your own thinking. So quick intros. Rory, do you want to say hello first?
Can indeed, yes. So my name's Rory Groves. I'm the marketing manager here at Force24. And this is actually a perfect webinar for me to sort of be on and talk about and all those sorts of things, because I've been here now for about 4 years or so, and sort of lead generation and leads is, you know, my bread and butter. It's what I've been doing. It's what I do daily. And yeah, so everything to do in the marketing department with, you know, making sure they're higher quality and then passing them on to sales and the whole process of that. So yeah, that's me.
Cheers, Rory. And of course, my name's Adam. I'm the CEO of Force24. Been in the game for too long, and obviously set up Force24 probably 13 years ago now. And we've grown to become the one of the fastest growing automation platforms in the UK, without a shadow of a doubt, and probably approaching second or third largest, depending on which metric you use to quantify size. So we are a UK-based automation platform, as you probably already know. Strategic USPs are all about the fact we're on your time zone. We're very closely aligned with our marketeers, where we're not following the sort of trajectory of people, you know, perhaps other ESPs. We're a marketing automation platform, and we're centered around human productivity. It's about you guys getting more. And one of the facets, or one of the strings to our bow, is the fact that we created this promise that our support would be unparalleled, and that we give free training and support for life for every user on a 2-minute SLA. So you really do have an extension of your team sat in Force24 at a very cost-effective price point, which is also part of our strategy. So anyway, enough of that. That's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about, Rory, is where have all the leads go? And this is actually a great time for us to be talking about this, isn't it, Rory? Because we've undergone some significant changes in our own marketing approaches, and have really created some significant headway in channels that we were struggling in previously. And that's quite an interesting debate. So firstly, let's talk about the landscape. Budgets. What can we say about budgets, Rory? Anything you want to bring to the table on this one? I know I've got some bits.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? There's been such a massive change. It's been so turbulent, the whole industry. And budgets have completely changed. And what we want to kind of talk about in this webinar is that you know, people think, oh, straight away the leads have gone. That's because the budget's gone as well. You know, if you're spending less, that means you can't be generating as many leads. And we're here to kind of say that it's not all about the more money you pile into it. There's a lot more ways you can think smarter about these different things, and you know, different ways of thinking and different ways of actually doing things can help generate leads, as opposed to just piling money. You know, it's not about doubling the budget, double the leads. It's not about that. You know, obviously people are panicking, going, I need to generate more leads, but we just don't have the budget in the department. But yeah, this is what we want to move on to in this webinar to talk about.
And actually, just while we're on that, you know, just some industry insight. You still hear me? You're cable there. That looked pretty serious. So some industry insight. So what actually one of the things that we're a private equity backed organization, and one of the things that we've got to do is report on market trends. And so part of the most recent board report that we produced did take a look at the information that was gathered by, I think it was Smart Insights, as to the shape of marketing budgets. And during the pandemic, most industries saw an average of a 26% decrease in marketing budgets. That's an interesting point, isn't it? And that's across all. There were some sectors, hospitality, for example, which was, I think it saw an 84% decrease in budget during the initial phase of the pandemic. And actually what the industry then saw was that those budgets were only creeping up slowly. So, you know, what I'd like to canvass the opinion of anybody on the chat, whether they can correlate with this, but very few industries saw growth in budget. Even those tech businesses that were supporting that work from home transition didn't necessarily, well, certainly the market stats didn't show that they had a massive budget increase. They also saw budget decreases. So I find that quite a weird thing to get my head around. But the other piece of insight was that when, you know, Boris said, right, that's it, COVID's finished, budgets didn't come back. So the 26% average decrease might have increased, but didn't go back to the 100%. So on chat, I don't know if anybody's got anything to say on this one. Are we struggling with budget decreases in the marketplace, or is everybody sat on the exact same amount of money than as they were before? Or is it the fact that actually the fact that, as we see regularly in social media, the cost of paid ads, the cost of social media ads, cost of display, everything, even the cost of email, everything's gone up. Therefore, actually, my budget stayed the same, but I'm feeling the pinch in terms of fitting what I was fitting in pre-pandemic into the pot. Don't know. Can we use the chat? Does the chat work? I don't know. Does it? You type in the chat, yeah. Anybody got anything to say on that? Anybody want to throw some points in there? Are they feeling it? Just put a Y if you feel like you're feeling a budget pinch, or an N if you're saying, no, I'm rolling in lolly, rolling in it. Anybody got a Y or an N on the keyboard? See it just next to the T or next to the B? No. Yes, L. rolling in lolly, LW. That's good to see. That's what I want to see. Yes, Holly. Yes, well, just like all of us, we're you know, you're feeling the pinch, but that's just how it goes. So companies are in different positions, different buying positions, and that's the interesting thing. And people are valuing different things. Rory, do you want to clarify that statement?
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's many different ways that people are feeling it, and I think that, you know, whether it's different, whether it's actually cuts to, you know, personnel, and they're thinking that, you know, people have actually been cut from teams and they're actually having less manpower now in their teams, or you know, when we talk about cuts, obviously we talk about, you know, the cuts of money, but what people don't realize as well is obviously there's been a lot of changes just in terms of the way of working. So people have obviously, you know, people are working from home and stuff like that. And obviously we'll go on to talk about this in more detail, but one of the big things as well is people being apart from each other is a big thing that I think people quite misjudge and don't really realize how detailed that is. Obviously, one of the big things we kind of want to talk about in this is sales and marketing teams and how connected they should be. And obviously, the whole working from home attitude is, you know, it's obviously there's a lot of benefits to it, but one of the things that I think does quite affect it is this kind of connection with the sales and marketing team, which is so key sort of in this modern day.
Rory, I'm going to go further than that, and I'm going to say what we've lost is the X factor. And so the X factor is that unquantifiable. We haven't lost the X factor. I think it's still going. I'm not sure. But we've lost that unquantifiable benefit that we get through collaboration. And that's the bit that we certainly at Force24 are working on. You know, this is a webinar all about the leads, isn't it? So why is that relevant? And the point that you're making there is we're saying that, do you know what? We have observed the leads are still there, but we have pivoted at a rate of knots. And we've then pivoted here, there. But what we've also had to do is realize that actually, perhaps there may be a slight volume tweak, but the same amount of business has been out there for us as a business being a tech player. We just had to work differently to get it. And that X factor element that I was just talking about there is to say, look, you know, they call it the great resign within the marketplace. We know marketeers have been hit by this. Statistic that I read the other day, can't remember the source, was 36% of all marketeers have moved job in the last 2 years. Holy crap. That means we're working at 64%. That's right, isn't it? You know, I've never been good at maths. 64% of marketeers are carrying the weight while the rest get up to this time to productivity. So talk about budget impact there. You know, that's a big thing. So you talk about that not just the fact that, you know, Charlie says budget's under a lot more scrutiny. I totally agree. But you've also got the fact that there's probably a good proportion of the people in your team are new. You might have never met. They live up in the Highlands of Scotland and you work down in Surrey, whatever. And you've got this sort of this disparate workforce, but it's that X factor that says we get into the office and when I get in, I make conversation. And that conversation might be about what I watched on telly last night, or it might be about, what do you think of this? Slide the screen over. And that X factor has gone. I like harping on about that. So what we got here, there's more and more companies being lead gen or lead providers. The volume, well, we're talking too fast now. Crikey. More and more the volume of business doing this and approaching me has spiked massively, and that's the point, isn't it? So thank you very much for that, Jacob. I've noticed this as well. Cold outreach seems to have gone up, and that's because that is the methodology that I don't really like personally, which says just make more dials. Make more dials, more phone calls will ultimately result in more business. That's not what it's about, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment as well. Definitely resonating with my team is going through forming stage. Yeah, you know, this is the marketplace that we're in, and sat in board just the other day. The portfolio of the investor that we're with has seen anywhere between a 25 and 45% annual rolling churn, which is quite a significant number. And that's something that's, you know, that's hurting industry right now. That really is hurting industry. And marketeers have always been, you know, quite, I don't know what the right word to say this, flighty. Is that the right way of saying it? Is that the, you know, we're all creative types, and the grass is always a little bit greener somewhere else, but it's that cost to industry that's hurting us. But anyway, so I think that you mentioned a moment ago, Rory, this issue about the work from home and the alignment with sales and marketing. Now, there might be a mix of B2B and B2C businesses on this podcast, so we'll be sympathetic of that. But in an instance where you have a sales team operating alongside a marketing team, that alignment, we spoke about this probably 2-3 years ago when we talked about, if I could monologue for a bit, well, I'm pretty good at that.
I think you've already done that.
Yeah, carrying the can here for technical issues. So what we talked about was this alignment of sales and marketing, and sales and marketing. Oh, is that in the private chat or the group chat? Sorry, I'm sharing the private innermost workings of our webinar.
Issues, but we're all good now, I think.
Okay, sorry about that. What was I bloody saying now?
You're saying about the
sales and marketing alignment. Take it from here, Rory. I'm going to shut up.
That's okay. Yeah. So well, this is like I was saying before, sales and marketing sort of disconnect. It's one of those things when you're in the office together. And I remember when I first joined Force, and I was working here for sort of what was it, before the pandemic, 2-3 years or so, and I'd be sat. The marketing team would be sat directly with the sales team, and you forget how many little conversations you have just over passing things. You know, they go, "Oh, where's this from? Oh, that's actually from, you know, that event. Oh, we did that. Oh, yeah, well, they've been doing." And you have those conversations, and it's little things like that I'm not going to call the sales team every 20 minutes being like, oh, by the way, I've just passed a lead. It's from that event. And they'll be like, okay, great. You know, stop disturbing me. I'm trying to get on with my work. And because of that, you don't have these little conversations which actually just provide little bits of insight. And that is, yeah, what you're saying, the X factor, those little bits of insight which suddenly make a completely seamless marketing and sales transition.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really pertinent. You know, how can a marketing team genuinely claim to own the empathetic voice of the customer if they're not physically allocating that time? Now, in the old world, you like you say, Rory, you just have a chat and you'd say that we're you know, James in sales, he just told me this. Now, the thing is as well that you got to balance that, because you know, we've seen this quite a lot of times. Of one person says, "Oh, I didn't like that guide, therefore we never do that type of guide again." You know, and that's something we've got to be careful of. But at the same time, what I find with Slack and Zoom and Teams is the fact that I book in a half an hour minimum. And that means I don't want to have half an hour call with you. I just wanted to tell you, this customer just said this to me. So I might Slack it to you. And maybe that doesn't land in the way that you receive it at the right time. So that X factor, look, I don't want to talk about that for too much longer. I think that is a problem that marketeers are facing. You know, transitional workforce is a problem that marketeers are facing. But that's not talking to leads. Let's talk to the hard, cold facts that marketers like to see. And let me just explain and describe a scenario that we've observed that I think is something that all marketeers need to get their heads around. So let me monologue for a bit longer. So what essentially I've seen is a total shift in the way direct communications, email, direct mail, SMS, are working to support top of the funnel strategies. Okay, so hear me out on this one. So if you're in a business that is using top of the funnel strategies, paid search, display, retargeting, whatever it may be, to drive in market, top of the funnel leads, whatever it may be, social, paid and what's the other one? I've forgotten it. Never mind. Earned and whatever. Somebody will correct me on that. Doesn't matter. What we're doing is that we're going. We were justifying the budget spent on those channels based on owned. Thank you very much, Nick. Based on the actual conversions that we saw. And what were those conversions? Those conversions might be a sale. It might be a high value download. It could be lots of different things. What we've seen businesses do and what we've had to do in our market, in our marketing, is lower that entry point. So the value metric that we're expecting on the back of our paid budgets is actually data capture, nothing more. And the value that we're looking for in data capture is an email and a first name. That's it. That is it. So what businesses that are focusing on that are able to do is afford to pay more for their paid advertising. Why? Well, because obviously, once I'm looking through my paid strategies, all I need is an email and a company, sorry, and a name. That's all I need. I can get a lot more of those. Therefore, I can attach, hopefully, a higher budget to getting that much smaller success more frequently. Now, what then is happening is Microsoft, as we've talked about lots and lots of times, have said, if you hold data in your database that you've sent emails 3 times a week to, and for 2 weeks they haven't engaged with you, delete them. Right? That's the aggression that Microsoft, who own the email world, I talk about this all the time, are saying that we need to adopt within our marketing department. What that's saying is that the only active emails that you should be sending right now are to people that are in market or recently completed one of these top of the funnel goals. So in the old days, what we used to say is, yeah, I've got top of the funnel here, SEO, all the stuff coming in the top, boom, 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 boom. And I've got my database of contacts here. You know, I've got 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever it may be. And I'm just churning through this 120, 200,000. And I've segmented them down into whether they're butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sending to 20,000 butchers, 20,000 bakers, so on and so forth. What we're saying now is, nah, that doesn't seem to be working in the way that it did before, because Microsoft are saying, no. Because if you're getting a 20, 30% open rate, that ain't good enough. You got to be getting a 50, 60% open rate really to be gaining favor. And so in order for me to do that, what I've got to do is I've moved to this stance of aggressively qualifying data out. aggressively removing people. And I think 14 days is a bit too aggressive, but I'm constantly topping it up with my top of the funnel strategies. And all of this in the middle, my data is my in-market opportunities that I've identified. And I've built a really robust, automated journey that's re-engaging those people based on their next best action today. Think about that. Mind blown, because it is, holy crap. So what are you saying? That 100,000 contacts that I currently own is vanity? No, it's not saying it's vanity. I'm just saying that we got to look at it differently, rather than it being two separate, owned and earned. And what was the other one? I'm an idiot. Whatever. The point is, rather than it being three separate streams, we're bulking it together, and we're saying this is now powering one strategy. And the top of the funnel is pumping the inbound. All I have to do is get an email and a name, better, and work it through. So as a result of that, last month, just interesting fact, let me go back to January, before we started to really, before we pivoted this, we delivered roughly, I can't remember, 450 leads into the sales team, something like that. I'm not sure. February, maybe 500, who knows, 475, don't know. And then in March, when we'd finally launched our new top of the funnel strategies and we'd really rationalized in our own minds how this was going to work, we delivered 750. Brilliant. That's nice. Because what we did was we collected more data in the top. We worked that data more succinctly, more effectively, using this next best action automation style stuff. Oh, you've had a look at our pricing page. Brilliant. Well, the next best thing for you is take our brochure away and have a look at it and read it and come back to us. Oh, the next best action for you is you need a demo. You need to see this in the flesh, so on and so forth. And so last month, 836. Now, that's a really, really good trend to see. Now, here's the interesting budget, flat. We ain't touched the budget. So we've gone from circa 450 into the high eights, not by doing anything differently. So when we booked this webinar, I wasn't going to talk about this because it was kind of, I don't know, it feels a little bit braggy when we say this sort of stuff. And it also feels a little bit like, I don't know. I don't like it. Don't like to brag about it. But it was just like, this is so important that we've been through this change. You guys on here may have already have been through this change, may have already recognized that this is one strategy. And what we're going to do is we're just going to power that strategy with different things. But we hadn't. And maybe we're behind the curve. Maybe we're in front of the curve. Who knows? But we wanted to share that specific mindset shift with you guys and see if anybody had anything that Rory, I've whittled on for so bloody long. I was just going to
say, I think it's nice to have a practical example, of something actually that's working in place.
Let me hit mute.
Thank you. I can hear myself echoing. But no, it is really important to be able to actually see that in place. We've obviously set up this journey and we've gone over and over, just tweaking little bits and just testing it and just making sure each individual bit is targeting the right person and, at the right time. And, you constantly play around with this, and that's what you should be playing around with, not your budget. You shouldn't be going, right, do we need to put more into this? And it's so important that you said before, Adam, that our budget has stayed the same. It stayed at the same level, but what we've spent our time and effort in and resources is just looking at the emails and looking at what's going where and looking at basically all of the automated journey of how we've got that information. We're not just going to, you can't just spend money to get a contact and then just move on from it. Try it once, send one email and then move on for it. You need to put these people through targeted journeys that are actually going to work for them and eventually turn them into an MQL.
And actually, Nick, thank you very much for that very, very pertinent question. Has the quality of leads improved or stayed the same? I have the exact answer for that. So what Rory's essentially saying is what we were doing at in the January was we were being a little bit more anything we can do to get them into the sales team. Now we're aggressively trying to get them away from the sales team and saying, hey guys, there's only so many people you can focus on. So in terms of that, we're keeping it in the oven longer through digital channels. Now, here's the interesting thing. So in January, when we were pushing 450 leads through, we were getting 6.7% conversion into Disco?
It was around that, yeah.
Yeah, last month, 16.1. So Nick, there's your answer, 16.1% conversion into a discovery call. So the way that the SaaS market works, I hate it. I don't think I don't like the process myself. I think there's a more customer centric way, but sometimes you got to fall in line. Is, you know, you get a lead and you go into a discovery call, and discovery calls where a member of the team gets on and essentially tries to qualify you, which is why I don't like it. I think it's not about that. It's about drive value to the customer from day one until forever.
I think that's an interesting point there. Obviously, we talk about lead volumes. Obviously, everyone wants leads. Everyone wants to have these sky high levels of leads. But the thing is, it is quality over quantity. So like you say, we've got these great levels in, but now we're going, right, hang on. We don't just want to be passing anything through. We want to make sure these people know about us. They're interested in what we do. You know, we don't want the sales teams picking up the phone and then being like, I'm not in the market for, you know, automation, or I've never even heard of you, that kind of thing. We want to make sure that these are the top of the top sort of things. So it doesn't matter necessarily if our levels of leads drop, if the quality suddenly goes up. And that's what we've found with that percentage going to sort of discovery calls.
Yeah, it's actually just a happy coincidence that the number of leads went up. You know, we weren't actually targeting that. You know, that's great. Yeah. But Jacob, thanks for your question. It says, I know it's not exactly on topic, but what do you find the most effective cold approaches to leads, calls, emails, etc.? And I guess this is what we're saying. This is what I'm saying. So the old school said, hammer them, and you're using this sort of, you know, in the old days we used to have above the line and below the line. And above the line would be newspaper ads, radio, TV. Below the line would be any tactical executions that I'm doing to support either direct, email, in-mails, that kind of thing, phone calls, that kind of thing, or even some more sort of tactical direct mail or paid search or something like that. So that was the old way. And the way that you're suggesting there is that you get straight on the phone, you get straight on LinkedIn, you get straight on everything. But actually, we've already seen from, was it whose experience was it a moment ago said, Jacob, your own experience, brilliant. Your own experience said that you're being peppered more. You're being attacked more through those channels. And what that's saying is that it's not saying that it doesn't work. It's just saying that the noise is quite significant now. And so what we're saying is that those top of the funnel marketing approaches to find in market. So we believe that the way to generate leads, certainly in a B2B environment, is about giving away as much free insight, intel as possible, and placing those little messages on through normal top of the funnel strategies like paid search, like display ads, like social media. So those in-market people, they get to see it. And it's about spending the money on that prominence. And the point that I want to make about this is if let's say you're in a recruitment business and you say, right, well, I just want some candidates, you know, where have all the candidates gone? It's candidate engagement I'm struggling with. And we'd say, right, well, okay, there's two aspects to candidate engagement. So candidate attraction is the first thing. Where do they go? Where do candidates live? Well, they live on LinkedIn, they live on Facebook, they live on Instagram, they live on Google, they live on all of these different places. So I developed my top of the funnel strategies, which is just about placing content in front of them. You know, it's not about smashing them with LinkedIn messages, it's emails. It's not about sending emails to them, hammering them with emails. And my job there is to say there is 55,000 people right now that a candidate that could come to us. I only want to talk to those that are prepared to listen. And the beautiful thing about paid strategies is the fact you only pay for those that click, obviously. But the point that I was making is that when I get you into that click, what do I want you to do? In the old days, I wanted you to fill in a lead form so I'd get on a phone and I'd ring you. What we're saying now is that no, just get the minimal amount of data that you can follow up with next best actions effectively through automated channels. And if that touches LinkedIn, if that touches the phone, that's absolutely fine. But what I'm saying is that aim for a volume play. You want an in-market volume play, and then candidate engagement comes into place. So you've got these people. Now let's pretend we play by Microsoft's rules. You've got them for 14 days and are allowed to send them 6 emails. Now, if you think about that, you have got a very finite window to really leverage this candidate, really fun. So the content that you deliver has to be absolutely grade A. I mean, that's probably my point now, Rory, is to say, look, in terms of where our effort is right now, you mentioned that refinement of those top of the funnel strategies, but am I right in saying it's all about content?
It really is. And yeah, that is such an interesting point you made before, Adam. It's about education, isn't it? You want to educate the people. You can't just like go to someone that's not in the market for you at all and just expect them to suddenly fill out a massive form with all the details. It's about gradually getting bit by bit more information on each individual person as they go down the funnel. So start off, like you say, whatever your business is about, a bit of content and a bit of an educational piece. If someone
free stuff.
Yeah. Oh, completely free. Yeah. And hand it to them, give it out, let them take it. And then from that, they obviously learn a bit more about kind of what your company is about, but obviously it has to be beneficial to them as well. Obviously, you can't just suddenly expect them to download a guide all about your business. They won't accept that. It has to be something that's going to, improve them and their business. And if they're a marketer and it's a marketing guide or whatever, they have to download that and find some sort of, value in it themselves. And then from that, you can obviously then start to say, okay, you're interested in this, and start to push them a little bit further down the funnel.
Let's talk, Rory, about then the important parts of your day. Okay. So what I'm boiling down to is the fact that I believe that you've moved your focus from the outside looking in into just building awesome messages.
Yeah, definitely.
And content. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to get to is, yes, we know we need great content. We know that. But if you take your time, you start at 9, you finish at 5:30. What do you actually do? Are you spending hours building one email? No. You're looking at, you've got that 14 days, according to Microsoft, 6 touches, according to Microsoft, that you've got to inspire that in-market person that triggered the trap to engage with you. And that's where I'm going with it, is you're not doing lots of things. It's a real laser beam focus on that quality content, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, we talk about it all the time. The content is, you can't just be smashing out emails just because we need to get an email out to someone. You need to look at that email and go, right, what is someone going to engage with on this? What is the right, message? What is the right thing that, at whichever stage that the person's at? If it's very brief, are we going in too hard? Are we going in too soft? You know what I mean? You need to be
next best action. Yeah,
exactly. You need to be making sure each email is like absolutely perfect and absolutely spot on. And that is, I think, more important than ever.
That's the point, isn't it? It's the quality of the output is good. In the old days, again, when we used to think about this, that, oh, I've got my 20,000 candidates, my 20,000 customers, 20,000 prospects, whatever it is, I'd literally kick any old junk out the door to them. And it'd be like, well, yeah, they'll open it or they're not, whichever. No, that's gone, because they talked about deliverability challenges in the past, and that's becoming more and more the situation. Microsoft is saying, and Google are saying, it's not my problem to do your segmentation. It's not a case that you can just bat what you want into me and I'm just going to be like, yeah, it's totally cool. It's no, if you've not segmented it, you've not really thought about what that guy wants to read, and you're not sending something that's quality, I'm going to just kick it into spam.
I think nowadays people are sort of more impatient than ever with everything. And I think a big one is whether something's relevant to someone. I think in this sort of modern day, with every kind of targeted ad we have now with cookies and everything, you go on social media and every advert on there is something tailored right to you. So if you suddenly, you're used to that, you browse your social media, you browse LinkedIn, you browse, whatever, and you've got an advert which is really specific to you, and you go, oh, actually, yeah, I am interested in that. And you get the next advert, oh, I am interested in that. Oh, that is something I'm interested in. And then suddenly you check your emails and you're getting all these emails from all these companies, and you're like, I've got no interest in that. Like, why are they targeting me? You almost get frustrated, don't you?
Yeah,
it's one of those. I think there is so much pressure now for marketers to actually deliver personalized communications which really target the person that they're sending to.
So personalized communications, that's always a good one. We always talk about that, don't we? I know it's not on our sheet here, but it's worth it, because personalization is what, Rory? Yeah, it's key. But it's the process of sending the.
I'm not sure.
Oh my God, Rory.
Is there a,
I think
what
you'll
am I
find your
defining
P45s over there.
personalization or
Personalization is the process of sending the.
personalized message?
Oh my God. Sam Holmes, if you're on this call, right message to the right person at the right time.
Oh, right. Okay, that's where you go.
We got there. Yeah. Okay. So personalization. So when we're talking about we talk about aligning to personalization, and we talk about aligning to Microsoft's desire and will. There's no more personalized approach to say that time is a big factor in personalization. Right message, right person, right time. And so this is what Microsoft are saying. You collected that data. You've got 14 days. 14 days. And actually, I do agree with that. I take my own personal experiences of this, and I take on board, like, I looked at buying coffee machines, and, forever and a day I'm being peppered about buying coffee machines. I bought a bloody coffee machine. Switch it up. Even if you to do smart things like you say, okay, well, we're targeting you at the moment on coffee machines, but after 14 days, we're going to target you on coffee. That's a smarter play, isn't it? Because you've probably bought one in 14 days or changed your mind. And I'm going to cycle through my content in that way. So it's logical progression. So I'm not saying that we've got to do this, by the way. We've got to sit to that 14 days. I'm saying that we've got to know where we sit on our 14-day plan. And I know it turns a lot of people off when you say you've got to start aggressively qualifying data out. But it is just what we've got to do right now. And the only way you qualify it out is by putting more in the top. And the only way you get more in the top is by lowering the standards or the gates to get in the top. I don't want you to inquire. I don't want you to buy something. Well, buy it. Of course you want you to buy something. I just need you to do something little. Have something for free. Have something that's on me. Give it away. Lead scoring. Rory, I want to talk about lead scoring.
Yeah.
What should we do? Where are we going with lead scoring?
Well, I mean, if you aren't using lead scoring at the minute, what are you doing essentially?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Lead scoring is absolutely massive, isn't it? So for those that don't actually know lead scoring, it's the process of putting a number on every single person that comes through your door's head. And by that, we mean in terms of engagement. So every web page that they look at, every guide they download, white paper, webinar, event, whatever they attend, the number goes up and up and up. Or it decreases over time in terms of, based on if that was 6 months ago, if it was last week, if it was yesterday. And this gives you such a good key indication as to how interested someone is in your business. And especially, obviously, with the sales teams as well, they can also have a trigger. And this almost goes back to a bit like it can also fill in the conversation that we were previously having in the office. So the sales and marketing teams are there in the office. They're saying, oh, this guy actually, he's done this. I've seen him before. He's actually emailed us about this. He was doing this on the website or whatnot. This gives you a complete history of exactly what the person has been doing previously. So the sales team can see, hang on, this person downloaded this guide at this time. He went to this event. He's been on our webpage for the last week doing this. He's been on the pricing page. Should probably give him a call. He's clearly, interested in the business. And it allows the sales teams to have these really good, high quality conversations with people that are directly interested.
What you're saying there is that the higher the score,
yes,
i.e. the longer I keep that lead in the metaphorical oven,
yep,
the better the conversation the sales guy can have with that person is, because we've captured more insight.
Exactly. and no one wants to be, the sales team especially don't want to be wasting their time picking up the phone to someone who goes, Force24, never heard of you. They want to be picking it up and the person being like, I've been on your website last week, and straight away, they're interested in you and they know exactly about you.
Rory, what you've done there is you've articulated for everybody what a the essence of, Jacob on the chat a moment ago said, which is the best approaches, calls, emails, etc. And the key really there is the fact that that's a very short-term strategy. Those direct tactical strategies, they're very short-term.
Yeah.
You might get a good response on this one. It's always about the strength of the words, the timeliness of the message, all the rest of it. And it doesn't work for everybody and all the rest of it. But if you've got a machine that's popping up the top of the funnel through whatever it might be, and you have a marketing team that are charged with creating exciting engaging content, and you've got a machine like Force24 that sits behind that data capture that then is re-engaging them, not just through people, that is lead scoring them, watching how hot they are and throwing them over into over the sales fence at the appropriate time. It means that you learn so much more about that contact, every page they've looked at, what strung their buying journey together. Then you get on the phone and you can actually have a really powerful conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, Rory nailed it. That's beautifully articulated.
Thank you. But it's interesting. It's what we were going back to before as well. The quality over quantity. You know, these are the leads that you can then sort by who is, you know, most interested in your business, who is doing, you know, the most on your website or downloading your bits and whatnot, and that is the highest quality that you want.
I've just read the message in the chat, Nick. I mean, there's no accounting for some people. We had somebody fill in a demo request form on a landing page from our Google ad campaign. When they got in touch, they actually said they meant to do a balance transfer with their bank. Somehow got into our landing page.
Incredible.
What? I mean, it happens. I mean, not to everybody, but I'm sure it does happen. Yeah. I don't think that worries me now in case I've ever tried to do a balance transfer on some demo page.
And just went to the marketing guide.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just crazy. I don't know whether that is actually a story that we can actually take anything from, Nick, other than a little bit of a laugh. But you know, I suppose that's one of those examples of you know, where that X factor comes in. You know, you can get lost in translation. Oh, all of our traffic from Google is people thinking that we're a bank wanting to do a balance transfer.
Yeah.
I hope that. I hope not. And actually, you know, one of the things that I did notice in early COVID, when we were all locked down, was that sales rhetoric was prevalent. And, you know, we canned a lot of different initiatives on the back of sales rhetoric. And that would be like, these leads are all crap. You know, you've heard it all before. If you've ever worked with a sales team, it's all fun. But the point is that sales rhetoric actually is based on one person's view of probably one or two phone calls. And again, it's actually talking to more of a symptom of engagement and the quality of the level of your engagement and the point in which your lead escalation happens. And this is what Rory's talking about with lead scoring. If we're trying to escalate you into a sales team when you've requested you know, something off Facebook, you know, is that the right time or not? And the reality of it is we do it on that lead scoring metric. So as Rory was saying, we watch what we're doing, we have a threshold, and that threshold's based on a sort of an average so if you reach so many points, we'll pass you into our sales team, and that's because you've done more than we asked you and you've been blah, 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 had a good look round. Okay, a person can get in touch. And the basis of that will be on the fact that you've done more than the average person. So that means there's something there. You might need some help, but the call should be very informative, engaging, supportive, and helpful, and convey the values of the business. But without that lead scoring, all I can do is either escalate it at a random point in time, the point when you first enter the funnel, or the point when you actually get off your bum and physically fill in a demo form. With lead scoring, you get to understand the shades of gray in the middle. And that's the bit that it brings. And if it's very difficult, I talk about this on the masterclasses. If anybody's not going to the Manchester masterclass, by the way, are there any spaces left?
I think there's a few. Yeah.
There's a bit. It's
a limited, but
there's about.
Don't invite everyone.
It's our biggest one yet so far. Yeah. We're in Manchester. I tell you what, we'll post a link, or is there somewhere you can go to get this information? Put the link in the chat, Rory. Go. So we do the masterclasses, and the masterclasses are a 2-hour. We pay for your food, we pay for your drink, and if it's in an afternoon, that includes beer and wine, which is always pleasant. Oh, there you go. We always put it in the chat. And if you sign up, be quick, because it is literally, I know we've got there's 60 registration. There's only 40 people actually that we can fit. So, but you never get 100% turnout. I know that. So we're over. If 60 people turn up, we would figure out how to do it. Don't you worry about that. The venue can accommodate it.
Yeah.
But we can't go much further than that. What was I saying? So what we always talk about is those shades of gray in my segmentation. And one of the things that I talk about is the fact that most marketeers go from here to here. And everything that happens in the middle is, well, I don't know. I got that open rate on that email, that click rate on that email, that many people filled in, that many people come to my webinar. Yeah, but of your funnel, how many people you got here at the beginning of the journey? How many people you got in the middle? How many people have you got about to tip over based on the fact that they've got lead score of a certain value, and the people of a high lead score tend to convert at a rate of X percentage. Without that, you're in trouble. Anyway, hammered on about leads scoring for too long.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rory, what's next? What are we talking about next? Where have all the leads gone?
Well, I think we should talk about how marketing teams should look to sort of optimize and refine their ROI. Obviously, we did briefly touch on this in one of our previous webinars.
Touch again, Rory.
Well, we were saying about how open, and obviously we've hammered this a lot, but click and open rates you should not be looking for your metrics. You know, there's a lot of other ways around this. And the biggest topic we did actually talk about a couple of webinars ago, we said about how iOS 15 has come into iPhones now, and that's completely made click and open rates basically useless, because the mail privacy protection feature now on the latest iPhone update means it opens and clicks every email that you get. So you have absolutely no idea. So obviously straight away, every marketer's gone, this is fantastic. My campaigns are doing absolutely brilliantly. But the sad truth is that this new Apple feature is meaning that they're completely skewed. Click rates.
But that's the point, though. It's a consistency. So 65% of all UK addresses are accessible on an iPhone, which means that, you're pretty much but it doesn't mean what it doesn't mean is that it's your unique open rate, which is now totally flawed, right? So a unique open rate says I sent it to 100 people, 65% of those people open them. But your total open rate, which is another statistic that we report on, is still valid, because Rory's iPhone opened it once and Rory opened it once, so that's two. Now the point though, Rory, is that you said just then, you said that it's not useful anymore. It's a consistent skew. And it's never been useful as a board metric. Never once have I reported an open rate to the board. Never once. It's just, or just it's my metric. And it's a consistent skew. So if I've done a really, really shit job, it will show as being a little bit worse. If I've done a really, really good job, it will show as being a bit better. But it doesn't look like what it looked like 6 months ago. No, more than that, 10 months ago. So I can't be there saying, oh, 10 months ago I used to get 12% open rate, and now I get 45. I mean, I know I talked about open rates a moment ago, but because that actually isn't the truth, you're not. And the problem is the MPP, mail protection,
privacy protection,
is you can't detect it because it looks like the device. You don't know. So the whole point of it is you don't know, and the whole point of it is that they're trying to disguise the real opens. So it is what it is. So just be careful, and it's clicks. So there's nothing you can do.
So the fix for this really is looking at the end goal, isn't it, Adam?
Yeah.
It's not looking at what is your email and what is your email campaign, your email journey. What do you hope to get out of that? Because no one does an email campaign going, oh, I just want everyone to open it, or that kind of thing. It's where is it clicking to? Is it an event sign up? Is it a guide download? Is it book a demo?
I love that line, Rory. Nobody sends an email to just get an open rate.
It's true.
Yeah. Now hold on. I'm saying that flippantly. How many people do send an email to get an open rate? That's an interesting point. Yeah. Anyway, good line though.
But people want the end goal, don't they?
Yeah.
You want, and that's what you should be looking at, because basically, if you send a campaign, and I don't know, say you're looking to get people to book a demo, you need to look at how many people actually booked a demo from that campaign.
That's what matters.
Yeah, that is what matters. It doesn't matter. You could have 100% open and click rate, but if no one booked a demo, you may as well have not sent the campaign.
But you're also interested to see how many people did turn up at the page. You are also interested to see how many people went and leaked to other lines. So that's all really very valid stuff, isn't it? Yeah. One thing I would say I've noticed about the MPP, mail privacy protection, unsubscribes are valid. So you can benchmark your unsubscribes against an open rate. So you can kind of peg it to, if you're unsubscribed, but you don't know if they've gone up or gone down, but you can kind of peg it to reality. So if you've got stupidly high open rate and a stupidly high unsubscribe rate, you've either got really, really offensive content, or you've actually got a reasonable open rate.
Yeah. No, definitely. If you send out a campaign and you're seeing you're unsubscribed just suddenly shoots up, you know something's not gone right there.
Yeah, but you be careful how you use that metric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're essentially saying is that in our experience, and we can't speak for every business out there, massive upset in the market has created a change in behavior. Our response to that change of behavior is focusing very much on top of the funnel and the conversion then thereof, the top of the funnel contacts. And that's had a positive impact. Okay, so marketeers now have the ability to make a choice, hopefully based on what we've said, to say, yeah, I might start focusing on top of the funnel stuff. I might start looking at how I build landing pages to collect very simple data, build automation to then re-engage with those people. Anybody wants to see this, anybody wants to have a play with it, come and book a demo with our team. Obviously, that's why we're here. You know, this is what our platform does essentially. And you know, it's kind of weird that we only found this out, you know, a couple of months ago. So either we're way behind the curve or it's new stuff that everybody can share from. So, you know, kind of wanted to share that. But if you want to see it, you want to play with it, jump on a demo. If you're already a customer, brilliant, and you're not sure what you want to do, obviously, you know, you get two minutes free training and support for life. No, you don't get 2 minutes free. It's all free, but you get it in the 2 minutes. You just knock on the support channel, and they'll talk you through whatever you want, and it's free. You know, use it. Rory, is there anything you want to say in addition, or has anybody in the audience got anything they want to throw into the mix?
Yeah, if you have any questions about anything we just spoke about, feel free to just pop something below. We can take a look at it. But I'd say in summary, what we've basically talked about in terms of leads, you know, leads are, you know, they've dropped, but I'd say obviously the big focus is quality. I'd say make sure you're obviously not just completely raising the budget just to, or trying to spend more, trying to get back to those levels. It is about working smarter. It's about having automations in place so you can nurture those people. What else have we spoke about? We've spoke about obviously making sure you're not going in too hard and, you know, burning through your leads, as it were. You know, if you've got 100 leads and straight away you go to every single one, do you want to sign up for our product? Do you want to book a demo straight away and they don't even know about you? You're going to burn through those and you're going to go, oh God, you know, all these leads were rubbish, when no, in fact, they just need to be nurtured right.
They were those part baked loaves that you get from the supermarket.
That's a great analogy.
They're lovely, aren't they? They're beautiful. They're so much better than the ones you buy that are baked.
Yeah.
You know, stick them in the oven 5 minutes and they're absolutely perfect. Lovely with a bit of soup. Yeah. But why would I use automation? Just, I know this is going back round. You mentioned that, you know, I sometimes find that we sort of simplify it a bit, you know, use automation. Yeah. But how could you do this without automation is the question. How could you, you know, if you're struggling to see, well, I might be able to do this in MailChimp, or I might be able, then you might be able to, but probably not. And the thing is, the time element. You imagine you had a chatbot on your website. We don't do chatbots, so it's not what we're pitching for. But imagine you did a chatbot on your website. You typed in a question, and it said, you know, I'd like to talk to somebody. And then that interaction was then waiting for somebody who's got a very busy day in marketing to then pick up that message potentially 3 or 4 hours later, maybe if not in that same day, and then respond. You know, and that's the essence. You know, this society, we need to act now, and automation gets that packet of data from the moment they fill in that form. It then understands what should happen next and plays out your objectives and plays out what you want them to do. And without automation, you just can't do it. Or if you've got hundreds and hundreds of people that are wasting time that, you know, really a computer could do it for you. So that I think is really, really important, and it qualifies why automation was never a fad. It was just always the right thing to do. And if you are struggling to implement that kind of automation, that level of automation, talk to your vendor. You know, you need the support for it, and that's what we give. Leads are still there. Anybody from the audience? You've gone quiet. Does the keyboard still work? The keyboard's stopped working. Maybe the Bluetooth connection to your keyboard stopped or something. Has anybody got? Can anybody type the letter A? I'm gonna try it. Yes.
Oh, we did actually have
Holly
answer Elizabeth Powell's, which is actually shown up on the Q&A and not the chat. Not sure if you've seen that, Adam.
No.
At what stage do you pass your marketing leads onto sales? How many interactions occur before the trigger?
Well, Elizabeth, if you're still there, this is the point. It's a it's a varying number. There are many paths through my website. There are many paths through my content, because whole point of next best action is delivered through automation is I go the route that's relevant for me. And I'll come on to the next question from Charlie as well. I go on the path that's relevant for me. So you can't base it on how many touches. You can't. You have to base it on that score, because the score is the flattener. That is the comparative measure that says this guy is hotter than that guy. This guy is hotter than that, so on and so forth. So if you're not using lead score and you are trying to base it on some sort of rigid, well, when if they've touched us 6 times, we should ring them. Well, what if 3 of those 6 times were you saying, oh, I sent you an email 3 weeks ago. Was it not relevant? You know, I hate that sort of email as well, by the way. Or, you know, why is that a measure? It should be, oh, no, came onto your website, downloaded the content, signed up for your webinar, then went and had a look around your product pages, then downloaded some case studies, boom, hit the score threshold. Okay, now what? Well, the score threshold will pass them into a human being, but we'll perhaps send another email to say, oh, by the way, seen you looking, hope you don't mind. We're going to get a sales guy to give you a quick call in the next couple of hours. Click here if you want to cancel that. Whatever. But the point is, using those hard wired metrics are less effective over time. MQL versus SQL is a big debate in our company. Okay, a bit more clarity on that, because marketing qualified versus sales qualified. Marketing qualified is marketing chucked it over the fence. Sales qualified is sales qualified it. So a sales qualified lead could come from an MQL, or it could come from cold outreach from the actual sales guy. So an MQL is something the marketing team chucked over the fence and said, hey, here's a lead. SQLs are when they take that lead, they ring it up, and the guy at the other end of the phone says, yeah, I'm interested in having a chat with you. Or, you know, it's a debate though, because, you know, you could say, well, the sales guys are aggressively qualifying out because they couldn't get hold of it. For me, an MQL transitions into an SQL when there is a human being that acknowledges your brand. That's it. So I don't know whether, Charlie, there's any debate on top of that you want to ask. But if it's something you need some help on, then, you know, get on a call with one of our guys, and we'd be very happy to chat to you about how we operate MQLs and what an SQL means to us. But it's just a definition sheet, you know, it's just, what is it? That's what it means. When an MQL, well, it's when an MQL can only become an SQL when a salesperson has qualified it as a lead. You know, I've picked up the phone. Now, like I was just saying there, is my view is, should it be down to the sales guy to say, oh, he's not interested? Or should it be down to the sales guy to say, could you connect to a human being? Yes. Did they acknowledge your presence or recall the interaction? Yes. Are they going to be in market at some point in the next 12 months? Yes. SQL, bingo. Yeah, that's your point, Charlie. You know, sales teams want to take orders. That's great. They can get a job at McDonald's. I'm sure they can get, I think they could probably get a job at McDonald's. I don't know. That's order taking, isn't it? You know, it's order taking. What do salespeople do? Salespeople have to do the same thing that marketing do. It's an extension of marketing. It's give me free stuff. Find their value. Help them identify their value. See if, and here's the big thing. Sales guys have to be able to say, we're not the right product for you. It's better for everybody if we recognize that weakness now and move on from that. And we'll take that back as product feedback, and we might be able to come back to you in a few months' time. But right now, we're not for you. So that's a really important one. But order taking is, you know what? Even McDonald's have got screens now that you just put your order into. So, you know, how far has the sales guy got? The end of the road is nigh if that's what we're doing. But qualification and nurture is the role. That's a whole different debate. Okay, guys, if there is anything else, happy to answer it. If not, you've got 2 minutes back in your day to have a lovely Wednesday. We are now exactly halfway to the weekend. Thank you very much, by the way, guys. Thank you. Halfway to the weekend, and it's only another week until the Queen's Jubilee. So we hope we have a lovely weekend, and we hope we see you in Manchester and any of the next events that we've got coming up. So keep in touch. And sorry,
just before you end there, I could feel you wrapping up, and I was like, let me just get in. We have got one more webinar in the spring webinar series. It's on the 15th of June. And it's post-pandemic marketing recovery strategies. So if you've signed up for this webinar, you'll automatically be signed up for that one. So we'll just send you an email to let you know near the time when that is.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.